The centrally located Mauritian city of Moko has the most typical of volcanic soil, which is fertile but does not hold water and is ideal for growing tea trees.
Such a perfect environment, combined with the unique climate in Mauritius, I think it leads to high-quality tea.
48-year-old Kuanfu is a tea specialist from Guangdong Province, China, who has 8 years' experience producing black tea in Mauritius. Beside him is Chatu, a local tea grower. He has been growing tea for 12 years and has a 20-hectare tea plantation. Over the last 2 years, his business has fallen into disrepair. For a long time, the black tea produced in Mauritius was very bitter, and this type of tea could only be exported to Europe as low-end tea products. As the quality of tea leaves in other tea-producing regions keeps improving, the Mauritius black tea has lost its competitive edge, which has hit the local tea industry hard.
Before there was many tea in Mauritius, but the planters were not getting good salary, good money. So slowly the government decided to stop some tea and to do conversion.
The Mauritian government has spent $2 million inviting top experts from India and Sri Lanka to do research for 2 years. However, the experts concluded that the bitterness of the local black tea couldn't be altered as it was a natural feature. From then on, large tea plantations were abandoned and many tea growers were forced to change careers.
This decision brought down the production of tea.
You know this one? It's rolling. Okay.
Today, Chatu has come to Kuanfu's tea factory, seeking answers to his questions. He's heard that this Chinese man can somehow remove the bitterness from the Mauritian tea leaves.
And then put inside the rolling.
So you remove all the water?
Yes.
Kuanfu's solution is not complicated. He heats the tea leaves and then lets them ferment for a proper amount of time. However, he only discovered this method after spending much time reading and searching and consulting other experts. He even read Compendium of Materia Medica a dozen times.
It took me 3 years to arrive at this solution.
At first, Kuanfu resorted to very traditional means to heat the tea leaves, but he ended up burning them. Failure set Kuanfu back, and he had to sell his house to raise funds to continue his business.
I was thinking that if the tea's flavor could possibly be changed through heating it, well then could I heat it a few more times? How much could I change it? Therefore, I heated the tea leaves with the iron pan at home and found that compared with the first time, the tea leaves tasted better after the second heating.
This portion let the tea leaves for the giant.
Yeah.
Though this secret method took Kuanfu 3 years to discover, he decided to help Chatu without any hesitation.
Yes.
So, we must not use the CGTN.
Yes.
Chinese tea producers prefer tender tea leaves, while Mauritian producers will mix in old leaves and tea stems as raw materials. Therefore, the tea leaves need to undergo a bruising process so that they can be heated evenly during the heating process. This bruising process is a new tea-making technique here in Mauritius.
Like this? I don't believe. Then what will happen? Like this?
Before it was crushing, I don't know, that the quality was not good.
And sometimes up, sometimes down.
Very good.
10 kilograms of tea leaves require a 30 minutes bruising to meet the process criteria.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Good. Wow. Nice. Very nice. Very good. Yeah.
After putting the bruised tea leaves into the baking oven, A chemical reaction of taste officially begins. Every month, Kuanfu needs to heat this batch of tea leaves 2 times, which is called hot fermentation. After each hot fermentation, the tea leaves should be air-cured for 15 days for the cold fermentation. The above process should be repeated 12 times within a year. Finally, after the full fermentation process is done, the black tea doesn't taste bitter anymore. Chatu has never heard of this type of technique before. Obviously, this Mauritian tea grower still harbours doubts over the flavour of the black tea after being heated and fermented for such a long period.
Frankly, we don't believe it because 1 year to produce ripe black tea, nobody believes.
Okay, and then I will make it for you.
Yes.
To remove Chatu's doubts, Kuanfu prepares 3 samples of tea leaves fermented for different periods of time. Through brewing and drinking them, Kuanfu intends to offer Chatu a real visual and sensory experience.
1 day.
3 months, 1 year.
Good. Very good. When I first tasted, it was just amazing because the taste, before I never take tea without sugar and without milk.
Convinced by what he has seen, Chatu has decided to be Kuanfu's partner by using his tea plantation and tea factory. As of now, Kuanfu has hired hundreds of local tea growers and has saved their tea plantations from bankruptcy. The procurement price of local tea leaves has risen by 50% compared to the past.
I've made many African friends through tea. Also, through tea, our businesses are all thriving and developing.
So I would like also to address to my good friends in China. I would like to invite you all to come to Mauritius and to taste our black tea here.
In the past, the export volume was less than 500 tonnes a year. Yet with the increased production of the fermented black tea, the figure has increased to 1,500 tonnes. Fermented black tea is exported to over 30 countries worldwide, presented to distinguished guests as a diplomatic gift by the Mauritian government.